Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Core Java session. We are into multi-threading and we are almost in last topic of multi-threading. Okay. So Core Java, we have started and we have multi-threading. So we have to understand what is notify versus notify all. This topic we have to see. Okay. After that, today we are going to see multi-threading deadlock. So once this part is done, then there are advanced topic of multi-threading. Advanced topic of multi-threading. Maybe sometime people may ask you in interview also, right? What are the advanced topic like thread group? What is thread group? What is thread group? Right? What is local? Right? Thread pool. Okay. What is concurrency? Okay. Executor framework. These are very important, guys. Okay. Because this deadlock is condition what we are going to see. Okay. The deadlock condition because of synchronous queues we are going to see that will be overcome here. Okay. So let me start first with notify all. Then slowly we'll start with what? Deadlock condition. And then we will start with thread group, advanced topic. Now guys, it is just understanding. Okay. Now try to observe. For example, let's say there is a thread is object. Try to observe. This is an object which is in running thread is in running state. Okay. Running state. So what happen is, let's say the thread goes in waiting state, right? This is in waiting state. This is in waiting state. Okay. When waiting state will come when on the object we are calling wait method, right? When we are calling wait method, then this object will go on waiting state. Now just think, there are not only T1, there are T1, T2, like that, T10. There are 10 threads there are 10 threads want to take control on the object, right? So earlier in previous discussion, what we have seen on the object, we can call notify method, right? We can call notify method. But this notify method will allow, will notify only one thread at a time. One thread at a time. But in this example, if you see, there are 10 threads. If you notify object also, only out of this 10 thread, only one thread get notification, right? And 9 thread will be in still waiting state. 9 thread will be still waiting state. So that is why when multiple threads are there, right? When multiple threads are there, then at that time, what we are doing, we are using what? We are using notify all condition, notify all method. So we can use notify method to give notification for only one thread. Notify method to give only notification for one thread. But if multiple threads are waiting, then only one thread will get chance now, and other threads will be in the waiting state. Okay. So we can use notify all method to give notification for all waiting thread. Okay. Then all waiting thread will be notified and will be executed one by one. Okay. In this case, if we call obj.notify all, so what will happen? Notification will be go to all the 10 threads. Notify all we will use instead of notify, then all the threads will get the notification, but one by one. Because what happened when the one thread got the when one thread got the notification, right? When one thread get the notification, then what happened? This object release the lock, right? Yeah, means in waiting state it is holding the lock, right? When it is holding the lock, then 9 will be waiting. Then it will release the lock. Then second thread will take the lock of that object. Then it will do the update operation. Then it will release the lock. Then third thread. So notify all we are using for notifying all the threads. Okay, this is a simple definition, guys. There is nothing much. Okay, I'm clear the drawing. Now, this is very important deadlock condition. Now try to observe what is deadlock condition. Okay. Now try to observe. What is deadlock condition, guys? Try to observe. First, we will see diagrammatically, then we will see programmatically also. Try to observe. Now just think, there is one class. Let's say there is one class. Try to observe. There is one class. Okay. This is one class. This is one class A. This is one class A. Okay. This is one class A. And let's say this is M1A method. Okay. I am going to have 2, 3 class. That's why I am taking M1. And in this method, we are going to call some M2 class B object. Now try to observe. Okay. This is M1. This is M1. Okay. Here, and there will be, let's say there is a class B. This is a class B, right? This is a class B, simple, right? In class B, when we are using one class and another class, that is called has a relation. Na? Method name is M1A. Huh? I am passing class B as a variable inside this method. Okay, just think this is method syntax. Similarly, there is method in class B, M1B. We are calling class A as a, now here we are calling class A, here calling class A. So this will be has a relation. So this is another method, right? Now, there is one more method, let's say M2A method, M2A method, and this is simple method. And similarly, we have M2B method, which is also a simple method. Now try to observe. In this situation, when we are calling the class and objects, we are not getting any issue, right? We are not getting any issue. For example, I am calling this the instance method, right? How I can call? How I can call? I want to call this method. How I can call? How I can call this method? I want to call this method. Why is this method? No. So I want to call this method. How I can call this method? Right? I will create an object B equal to what? New B, something like this, right? And then with this, I can call this method. There is no problem, right? Similarly, I want to call this method, right? How I can call A equal to new B, A dot M2A. Simple. I want to call this method. There is no problem in this method at all, right? Now, situation will come where when we are using synchronized keyword. First of all, what is meant by synchronized keyword? Whenever we are using synchronized keyword, then it get lock on that object, right? It get lock of that object. Once we get the lock of the object, we cannot do unless and until the object is released, right? This is a simple use case. So this is simple method. There is no deadlock condition in this situation, right? Now, one thread is there. Now try to observe one thread is there. One thread is there. One thread is there. In this situation, let's say, let me choose another color. One thread T1 is there, and this thread want to call M1 method, right? M1 method lies in which object? M1 lie in A object, right? So this is the object of A. Its reference is small, okay? And this is M1A method. M1A method, which is expecting what? Something B. We want to call this method now. We want to call this method, right? Similarly, think of another thread T2, which want to call M2B, and it will going to expect A variable, right? This is a method, and its object is this object. This is the object, and this object is BB. So what happened? Thread will call this method M1A, right? M1A it will call, and just try to observe. In this logic here, we are having calling what? Let's say M2B. We can call M2B, right? We can call M2B. I am calling here M2B method. So it is going to call this method, right? Somewhere. And here I want to call what? In here I want to call M1A, which is expecting A object. So it is going to call what? It is going to call not this one, guys. Sorry, my bad, my bad. Not here. Here. Here I want to call M2A. M2A method, right? Simple. So this method is going to call this. There is no problem in this situation, right? Problem when we are using synchronized keyword. When I am using synchronized keyword here, when we are using synchronized keyword, when I am using synchronized keyword, when I am using synchronized keyword, when we are using synchronized keyword, then a deadlock situation will appear. How that deadlock situation will appear? What is meant by deadlock? The thread will keep on waiting for long life. How this will come? For example, if thread T1, for example, we are calling, in this example, what we are trying to do, in this part, we are trying to call what? Trying to call this one. But it is in synchronized state. In this part, from M1B, we are trying to call this part, which is also in synchronized state. What is mean by synchronized? When we are using synchronized keyword, multiple thread acting on the one object have to wait for to completion. Then only second thread can use that object, right? So we are calling here T1. When here, how many threads are there? We need to understand. Then only when both the threads are waiting for each other, they will think that okay, this thread will release, then I will take the lock of another thread, another object. First thread will think if the second object get released, then I will take a control of the second object. In that T1 and T2 will be waiting for each other now. Then in that situation, what will happen? A deadlock situation will appear. Now we will see if, this completely as a program. Now try to observe. Now try to observe the program. Then you will understand what is the deadlock situation. Okay? Now. Okay. Now guys, I am removing the older code which is not required for us. Let me delete this. Here also I am deleting the code. Okay. Now think there are two classes. There are two classes. Okay. One is test and one is another simple classes. Okay. Now try to observe. I am removing this. They are inside which package? Save this also. Most probably practice SRC package 1, right? I'm looking for one more class which is having some. Okay, fine. I am using this demo class also for our program. Now there are three classes. Okay? There are three classes. Now try to observe test 2, test, and this third class. This is test. This is one class and this is another class. Okay? Now try to observe what I am trying to do. I am going to use deadlock condition here with the help of one program. Okay? Then you will understand why this where we should be very much careful while using synchronized keyword. What is the disadvantage of synchronized keyword? The first thing is that whenever we are using synchronous keyword, then what will happen? Threads will lock that first thread will lock the object. Then the other thread will be in the waiting state now. When the other thread are in the waiting state, what will happen? For execution of other thread, it will take time. Let's say there are 10 threads. So first T1 thread will take a lock of the object. The ninth thread will be waiting. Then second thread will take a lock of the object. Then other 8 thread will be in waiting. Like this, to complete all the operation from thread T1 to till thread T10, it requires some waiting period now. That waiting period is increasing the performance issue that we understand in when we understand synchronized keyword. Okay, now try to observe. There is one program, same what I showed you diagrammatically. Let me create one program. This is, uh, let's say I will start with class test. I will start with class test. Public public void. Let's say I am using M1. Let's say M1, M1. Okay, M1. Now try to observe. This is simple method, right? Now I am using one more method. Okay, public public void M2. In this M1 and M2 method belongs to A class. This is the simple program. Now I am trying to print something here. Let me try to print something here. System dot out dot println. System dot out dot println. Okay. Now I am printing something. Uh, M1A method called. Simple, right? M1 method called. Let me copy this statement. Let me copy this statement. Paste here. Now here I can call M2A method is called. M2A method is called. Okay. Now try to observe. This is simple method. I am creating only method. Let me copy this. Let me copy this. Paste this method in where? In second test class. I am keeping this in another class. Just changing the name so that we can understand. This is M1B. Let's say M1B, second class. And this is M2B. M2B. This is M2, M1B, and this is M2B. Okay? Now, this simple method, right? Simple method. Now try to observe. I need to pass the object. So I am passing here what? Test to object here. Let's say test 2 I am passing. Test 2 I am passing. And here in M1A, in this class, I am passing test simple T. Hope you are understanding what I am trying to do. Here I am passing this, and here this one I am passing here. Hope you are good. Okay, now without synchronize, first we'll run the program, then we will see how synchronize keyword creating a deadlock condition. Okay, so this is fine. Now this is the class na test. This is test2. Can I call this variable test2 with this variable? Can I call this method m2b? We can call this method, right? We can call this method. Let me call this method test2 dot m2. See, it is coming, right? ठीक है. Try to observe again. If you did not understand, try to understand. We can call this m2 method with this class name variable na. So we are passing this here, and this is the variable. So with that variable, we are calling this method na. So we are understanding. Same thing. I want to call this method. I want to call this method m2a. So which method object reference is required? This test. So I can call here. I can call here. Where? I can call here also. Right? Now try to observe how I can call. I will keep some space same way. T dot m2a. I can call like this, right? Because observe here, this is test we are passing here. And with this reference T, we are calling this na. This is going to call what? This method it is going to call. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Same way, if you understand here, what we are doing? 1, we are passing this here. Then this is what we are calling 2. And then it is going to call this method, right? This is 3. Till now you are good, right? No doubt. Hope you are understanding. Okay? Now, simple method calling, nothing nothing more than that. Now let me remove this imports. I will use this class as main method. So public static void main, public static void main, string args of array. Okay. Now try to observe. This is our simple class. Do you see implement or extend runnable anywhere in the both the classes? No, na? So I need to create a thread. I can use extend thread or implement runnable. Let me try implement runnable. Implements runnable. We have defined the thread means whenever we are using this line implement runnable thread, right? Then what happen? It will ask for implement unimplemented method. So we have override that unimplemented method and we will create our own object. Now there are two classes. I want to call some method, so I need object of that class. Test2 t2 equal to new test2. Okay, this is perfectly fine. What happens? Spelling mistake. Now we are having another class. Test t1 equal to new test. Both the class objects we have created. This is the object we have created, and this class object also we have created. Okay, with this t2 and t1 we are going to call their methods. That's why we have created. Okay, now observe. Till now this is simple program, guys. Now I am going to use one method, one logic here. Now observe. Now tell me, guys, I need to create one deadlock condition. What will be my deadlock condition? Let me create one deadlock method. Deadlock. How it will come? This is not purposefully. It is just one method, guys. Okay. Now ठीक है. This is one method, simple. Now I need to initiate one thread. So how to create initiate thread? Uh, thread equal to new thread, right? Because with the runnable, there is no run method, no start method is there. So we need to create always, in case of runnable, whenever we are using, we have to create a thread like this. And then what we will do, we'll create a thread dot start. Thread dot start. You know, with that thread dot start, thread run method will run, right? Okay. Now, thread run straight start method will call uh, start method will call what? Run method. Let me copy this, Control X, paste here. Okay. Now try to observe. Okay. Run method, I am trying to call some method. Right? Try to observe. T2 dot T2 dot with the T2 dot method, what object will come? See. Let me check. It is not coming. Now it is coming, right? Try to observe. Then what we have to pass T1 here, right? T1 is fine. I have passed T1. Okay. No. I can call this method, na? I can call this method. I can call this method, right? I can call this method. Now try to observe. One minute, guys. Now try to observe what is happening in this program. First, what we have done, we have created one test class object. Test class we have created. Inside there are two methods. Inside there are two methods. Okay? Now, in these two methods, what we are trying to do, this method, this M2 method, M1B. Okay? M1B. Inside M1B, what we are calling? This method we are calling. Okay? In M1A, which method we are calling? M2B we are calling. Now, these are classes and method without any kind of synchronous keyword and any kind of main method, right? Now to initialize this, what we have taken one third class which is having main method. We have taken third class that is having main method. Now, where is our main method? In this data type demo. Forget about this class name. I am using older class name. Okay. Ignore this class name, data type demo. It is a third class name. Consider that. For that, I am defining one thread here. How we are defining a thread? Data type demo implement runnable. Data type implement runnable. Now inside this runnable, what we are doing? We are creating an object because we need to call. What we need to call from this class? I need to call this class method and this class method. How we can call? We need to object. So that's why we create an object. Okay. This is a constructor. This is a constructor. Inside that constructor, we are defining something, right? And when we are implementing runnable, always it required one implement run method. So that's why override run method is coming. Now, after that, whenever we are doing implement runnable, we need to, we don't have start method by default. So to call any kind of run method, we require start method. And for start method, we need a thread. So that's the reason we created a thread. With the thread object, we are calling start method. From the start method, automatically it is going to call what? Run method na. So what it will call? It will call t2.m2 test test2 class m2b, right? Now try to observe our output. Now, first important thing is where the all logic will begin. All logic will begin from where? All logic will begin from main method. This is our main method. This is starting point now. Main method and main thread are different. Main thread will start the main method. Always remember. Main method is, till now we understand wherever main method is there, from there the program will start. But who will trigger the main method? Thread. Main thread will start. Okay? Now what we are trying to do? We are trying to call a constructor. Are you understanding? So by this new demo type, okay? Where is the call? Where should the call should go? Call should go to here. Then what will happen? Thread T2 will start. Now try to run this program. Let's, what is the issue? Any issue is there or not? First, let me run the program. Perfectly fine, right? M1A method call, M2B method call. Let me debug this program so that you will understand how this call is happening. I'm keeping debugger. If you don't understand, always debug, do debugging. Debug as Java application. Now you're saying, right? After main method, where the call came here, right? From here, the call came here. Now T dot start method, what it will call? T dot start method, what it will call? T thread will call run method. And this run method will call M2B method. Try to observe. Now, call came here, right? Now try to observe call is happening. We are getting output. We are getting output, right? We are getting output. Okay? No. One second. You will use synchronize keyword, then you will understand the problem. Let me add some more sysout statement also as well. Okay? No. Let me start some, keep some more statement. Then stop this. Copy this. Paste here. M2B method called. M2B method called. Same statement here. M2A method called. Okay? Now, save this program. Now I will use synchronized keyword, guys. Try to observe. Synchronized keyword. Copy this. Copy this. Paste here. Paste here. Now save this. Save here. Save here. Now let me run the program. We add more sysout statement first. Uh, this is system dot printout. Okay. Now this is fine. This is calling this method. Then we have format this cell public void. Save this. Now run the program. Now try to observe here. How is our call? Open the console. M1 method is called. This is called. Then M2 method is called. Test2 dot M2B. Where is test2 dot M2B? This is our M2B method is called. Okay. Now let me call some more method. This is fine. Publishing M1 called. Okay. Let me add some thread dot slip. Then you will understand. Let me add here slip thread dot slip. Let's say 3000 millisecond. Then it will ask for exception handling. Let me use try catch block. Save this, copy this. Let me use same thing here. Paste here. Format this. Class object t dot start. ठीक है. Thread to calling. Let's say M1B method. This is thread to calling into a method inside. Okay. Mm, We are having this test 2 T1. Mm. Now I am using synchronized keyword and we will again understand this complete process. Okay. Now, synchronized. Synchronized keyword. For that, I want to observe something. Did one calling M1 method. ठीक है. Did one. I'm trying to check the execution, guys. Then, if you get without synchronize, then you will understand that normal method. I'm trying to check what is printing and how is printing. This is M1 method. Okay. Second class passing this is how we are using perfectly fine. Then we are waiting, and then this is one method. Fine. We are using one method. Two volume and one method. Okay. Sleep method. T dot. T. ठीक So this method should be same because these are different method. It will be treated as different method. Into into this. Who's not calling? Not understand application. This is M2 enable run method. Perfectly fine. This is fine. Let's start. This is run method. Okay. Now, guys, observe what we are trying to do. Okay. Forget about this main method. Observe this two class first. Okay. Now try to observe. There are two class. This is one test class, and this is test two class and test class. Inside this, what we are having? We are having two methods. One M1B and one is here M1A. Same syntax, everything is same. Try to observe. Okay. Now what we are doing here is in M1A, we are passing what? We are passing this class object, and here in this method, what we are passing? This class object. Okay. Till now, this is common thing. Now, what we are trying to do here is we are calling test2 method. See, this method and this two method both are same now. But this method M2 lies inside which? Lies inside some good naming convention. Inside M2 of test2 class. And here inside M2 of test class. Okay. We are creating two threads here now. Try to observe. Simple calling, nothing other than that. Then what is our output? Try to observe. Whenever we are calling here in main method, what is happening? We are calling this constructor. After this constructor, what is happened? Thread is created. Okay, thread start. Thread start means it will call run method, right? There is two calls are happening. T1.m1a and T2.m2b. Now try to observe. Let me. Is it possible? Yeah. Now we can see three class at the same time. Now observe. Okay. Now observe this diagram and code also. What we are doing? Thread dot start. It will start and it will call what? It will call run method. One thread is going to call. There are two threads now. There are two threads. Whenever we are using this thread concept, the thread dot start, it is having child thread, right? Now with this thread, what will happen? This thread will be calling run method. And T1.m1, T1.m1a. Where is M1a? Here is our M1a. Here is our M1a. So what is our output? First output we are getting what? We are getting this output. Thread 1 calling M1a method. This line is printed, right? And threads, we don't know what output will come, right? That's why when run method is calling T2.m1b, what it is going to call in this program? Right over T2.m1b. So this line is going to call na T2 M1B. This is the method it is going to call. So this line is going to print now. This is our second output. Okay. Now here, if you see thread 2 is this two output, we are good, right? We are good. Now, when this call will be done here, thread to call, it will come down and it will call what? See, sysout statement, thread to calling M2 method. This line will be printing. This line will be printing, right? Now, third output is we know. Now, after that, T2.M1, M2 method is called. This method is called. Where is T2.M2? Where is T? What is T? T is, this small t is variable of what? Small t is variable of what? Test class na. So T dot method is called. So now T dot M2 method. Where is T dot M2 method? This is T dot M2 method. That's what is going to call. Here it is going to call this method. Now, what is printing? Inside M2 of M2A method. This line is printing, right? This line is printing. Its job is done. This job is done. So what is going to call now? There is thread 1 calling M2B. This part is done, right? This part is done. Thread 2 job is done. Now another thread is there, na? First thread. So first thread is calling what? First thread is calling M2B method. Right? First thread is calling M2B method. So now here, this thread is execution part is pending, na? This thread execution part is pending, right? So when this thread 1 is working, thread is one working. So it is going to call test2.m2 method. Right? Test2.m2 method. What is test2? What is test2? Test2 is variable of what? This class na test2. So it is going to call m2 method, right? So this from here the call will call to come to this method and inside m2 method will be called. This is simple execution. Now I will add two synchronized keywords. Then we will understand where is the challenge. I am clear the diagram. Now observe. I am using synchronized keyword now. Synchronized. Yes. I am using this statement. I'm taking the screenshot first before changing our output. Let me open one paint so that we can understand the difference. I kept here my output of first with the before synchronize. Now I will use synchronize here. Okay. Now come here. Copy this synchronize keyword. Paste here. Copy the synchronize keyword. Copy the synchronize keyword. Save this program. Save this program. Now try to understand and run the program. How many lines of output is coming? 4 line of output is coming. Try to understand what was our diagram. What was our previous output? This is our output, right? Now, let me copy this output. This is deadlock condition. Observe these outputs. Then you will understand what is deadlock condition. I'm pasting the output here. This is one output from without synchronized. This is another with synchronized keyword. Where is dirt? This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Right? But now try to observe where is our deadlock condition is. Thread 1 is calling M1A, thread 2 is calling M2, till this point fine, right? But where is this output? Now here onwards, The thread are in waiting state. Thread are in waiting state. Try to observe. Thread are in waiting state. How this is waiting state is coming now. Observe. In this diagram, first observe this program and the flow. This is little critical, guys, but you have to understand. What is this thread 1 and thread 2 is doing? When we are using synchronized keyword, it is getting a lock on of this object now, right? It is lock of that object. Means this when we are using synchronized keyword, then what it is doing? It is taking a lock of that object. And when we are using synchronized keyword here, it is locking that particular object now. So what happened when we are using synchronized keyword, they are locking each other and they are waiting. Once the object will be released, then they will come out of waiting state and they will call the object. Guys, I will explain this program one more time tomorrow. No need to worry if you are finding it difficult, right? I will show you one more time with internal details. Then you will catch where is the synchronized keywords is reflecting the issue. Because this concept we have to understand in very much depth. Then you will understand the disadvantage. You are understanding only output. Maybe you are not catching the point. Why this synchronized concept is blocking? What is blocking? So tomorrow again I will explain in very detail in 15 minutes because now we took time for code, right? Tomorrow directly we'll start from in deep dive of this program. So hardly 15 minutes initially it will take to understand where is the catch, how synchronized keyword is impacting. Once you will understand the synchronized disadvantage in this program, then we will start with advanced topic, that is thread group. I know you did not understand today. So just wait for tomorrow 15 minutes initially. Then you will understand why this synchronized is locking, how this synchronized keyword is blocking. We will keep synchronized keyword here only two places. We will remove all the synchronized. Then we will understand the flow and output. Then we will keep two synchronized keyword. Then we will observe the output. Then we will keep all the four places synchronized keyword. Then we will see the output with internal calling. Then you will get more depth. Okay. Yeah, I know you are confused. Multiple thread object. There are multiple thread, guys. There are two threads are going on. That's why I'm keeping this name thread 1 calling, thread 2 calling. Where this thread is generated. Now observe when we are calling main method is called by thread 1, that is main thread. And now what we are calling here, this constructor we are calling now. Purpose of this constructor is nothing, just to create a thread, another thread. So this thread is calling child thread, that is thread 2. Two threads are created now. So one thread is we are using here, one thread is we are using here. We will see everything programmatically and deep dive in this program. Once you all are comfortable, then only we will move to thread group. Because before that, we need to understand this deadlock condition. Why we have to be very much careful while using this synchronized keyword. Once you are good with that, then we can go to thread group. But definitely we are going to complete this deadlock condition in first 15 minutes. And then once you are good, then we will start the thread group, advanced level of multi-threading. Okay? I'm stopping my screen share. I'm stopping my recording.